Right, lads, this is going to be the most controversial video I have made ever. But before we get into it, I want to say thank you to Aaron Davies who gave us this idea. Wait, up there. That's his thumbnail. I'll leave the link and everything in the description. If you want to go watch his video, try and get that to 1,000 views. It might already be there by now. Also on Newcastle YouTubers, if you want to see his content, go have a look. Much appreciated if you subscribe to him. Hopefully you enjoy his content. But today, lads, we've got a prediction video. It's going to be very controversial because there is no possible way I'm not going to get some criticism of literally any team. It's going to be impossible. Three teams have to go down. It's just my opinion. So just try to understand the way I'm thinking instead of just typing whatever you any hate, anything, just anything at all. Let's get a number. Wait, actually, it's going to be a tier list, not any number, just a tier list. I've already made a tier list. I'm going to run you through my way of thinking about every team, about where I think they're finishing, where they're going to finish. I've spent about an hour doing this because it's going to be very hard. Obviously, it's before the transfer window as well. So I'm going to be making another one before the start of the season, maybe about like a couple of days before, because the transfer window, not quite sure when this transfer window finishes, but I know the season starts pretty early. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's get into the tier list. Right, lads, have a gander, have a look. I'll give you a chance to look at it. Pause the video if you like. I'll wait like 5 seconds. It's probably not enough for you to check it all out, but anyway. I've went to Fulham 20th. I feel like them and Norwich just keep on swapping positions every single season. Norwich finish top, Fulham go down, and then Fulham finish bottom, and then Norwich go up. Just same thing happens every single season. I still don't think their squad's good enough to compete in the Prem. If you look at when they last came up, they got the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, they got John Michael Seri, Kenny Teddy. It's just players off the top of my head. Obviously, they would have got more players than that, but they weren't really Premier League standard. They're players who you'd want if you were trying to battle for the Prem, the battle for relegation. So they're setting themselves up for failure, and I feel like they're going to do that this year as well. Bournemouth, pretty much the same thing. Obviously, they've got Scott Parker now. Pretty sure they have. Is it also Marco Silva? Either Fulham or Bournemouth have got Marco Silva or Scott Parker, one or two. I feel like Fulham's team's alright. It's just still not good enough for the Prem. If you look at the likes of Norwich, their team's far too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Prem. You see that with a lot of teams, but then you see the likes of Brentford that came up, their team was battling for relegation. At the start of the season, they've done good. The Wolves, they came in, done class straight away. Aston Villa, I'm pretty sure they were battling relegation and they just went on an upward spiral. But yeah, Bournemouth don't think they're good enough. Southampton, I feel like they've been on their downward spiral. I don't see where it's hard for Southampton. I haven't seen much from Southampton for a while. Obviously, went on a run. It was a couple seasons ago where they were top half, top 4, top 6, 7. For Canny Wild, they managed to drop down. I think it's with the 9-0 maybe or something else happened in the club. James Ward-Prowse, if he goes, I don't see where they're going to get goals from, because that's their main source of getting goals. James Ward-Prowse, obviously his free kicks are just absolutely immense. So yeah, I think Southampton, it's about time he's go down. Unless Ralph Hasenhüttl gets sacked, maybe he does. Maybe he goes back to Germany. Well, he's from Austria, but Austria next to Germany. Unless he gets sacked and they bring somebody else in, I think that could be the only chance of maybe staying up. Nottingham Forest, obviously just came in. I quite like them, but right now their team is not good enough. If they bring in Jed Spence, who was on loan last season from Middlesbrough, it's a really good buy. But the fact that I think a couple of top 10 teams will probably want Jed Spence, or God knows, maybe he would have got lots of attraction when they played against Arsenal. That would have been where all the hype from Jed Spence came around. Brennan Johnson, born and bred from Nottingham. Who else have they got? They've got Ryan Yates, obviously homegrown, I'm pretty sure as well. They've got a couple of decent players who I reckon could do good. Who else have they got? Jack Colback, who's played for Newcastle. If they have a really good transfer window, I reckon they could do good. Obviously with Steve Cooper as well, he's doing an absolute cracking job. Considering Nottingham Forest were nearly relegated last season, he's turned the ship around. And look what happens, done the same with Swansea. Look where they were this season. Not quite sure mid-table, I think. And then he's came to Nottingham Forest and he's done class. Number 16th, Brentford. I don't know, not quite sure where they finished last season, but I still don't think their team's good enough. If Ivan Toney gets sold, it's going to be hard for him to get goals. I think Johan Wissa, I think he got a couple of goals. I was quite impressed with him. Ericsson, if they get him, that is massive if they get Christian Ericsson. David Raya, I think he's been kind of good. Obviously, he could have done a lot better, a bit better, but actually, I think he was out because they had a backup keeper. Not quite sure what his name was, but he wasn't that good when that's where most of their points were lost. Leeds, obviously not the best season, but obviously the second of Bielsa, and obviously in came Jesse Marsh, one of the two. He's American, so it's probably Jesse Marsh. I think he came in, obviously gave Leeds not a new style of play because Jesse Marsh and Bielsa is the same kind of football. I think Bielsa just a bit more defensive. Jesse Marsh is a bit more, I don't want to say attacking, but like a bit more balanced. Brighton, I think this will probably be a surprise to all years, but everyone's tipping Brighton to get top 10. I don't think they will. Hi, Editor Ben here. Just skip like the next minute, 2 minutes. I'm just talking absolute waffle. Brighton finished 9th. Clearly, I thought they'd done shit for some reason. Just so we completely cut out, just skip like a minute. I was completely waffled for like a minute or 2 minutes when Brighton actually did good. So yeah. And I know, I've got a hairband in. I know you can see me forward. They're going to expose us, aren't I? Fucked off. See us. Pass Ben. I don't think they will. The first bit of last season, they've done really good. Then they just started dropping points. I don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with what do you call him, Graham Potter. Maybe it's something to do with him. Everyone's saying he's a good manager. I think he is a good manager. Just something about that the recent form. Obviously, they dropped down to, was it 12th? No, Aston Villa finished 14th. We finished 11th. Not quite sure where Brighton finished that. If Brighton finished higher than us, I'm looking very, very daft right now. Don't think they did though. Hopefully they didn't. Fingers crossed. But yeah, maybe if Brighton bring in some better players, you can't have Danny Welbeck in a team who's trying to stay in the Premier League. Obviously, he done all right. Obviously, a lot better than what people would have thought, but it's still decent. Moises Caicedo, I think he looked pretty good against Man United. Not gonna lie, that's the only game I've seen of him. They've got Pascal Gross, who's just signed a contract. They've got Tariq Lamptey, another cracking player.
Cracking player!
Trossard. That's all that's came to my mind now, but yeah, that's some really good players. If you can build around them type of players, they could finish top 10, they could finish 10th to 14th, but I don't think they're going to do that good. Everton, I was really hoping they were going to go down last season. I was praying, but they didn't. I reckon the fact they haven't got that pressure on them to go down, I reckon Frank Lampard might get the most out of his players. If the likes of Richarlison goes, that's where Everton's main source of goals was. Calvert-Lewin goes. I think he was that impactful this season because he was injured for quite a lot of it. Pickford obviously helped them out loads. If it wasn't with Pickford, they would be in the Championship right now. Wish they were. Obviously their new stadium, I think, is getting built. I'm not quite sure if anything's stopped on that, but I'm pretty sure they're still getting built. Palace, I think Pat Vieira's done a wonderful job with Conor Gallagher going. If they loan him back, maybe decent. It's very hard to guess because the transfer window hasn't been. I'm judging these players of last season.
Okay.
You just don't know until the transfer window comes around. And they've got the likes of Wilfred Zaha, they've got Michael Olise, they've got Eze, they have got Tyreek Mitchell. Lots of fantastic players. Just about the transfer window for them. Wolves, the likes of Jose Sa, I think, what's his name again? Bruno Lage. He's done a class job. I think it was Nuno Espirito Santo. He came in before, took them. Did he get sacked, I think? He got sacked, went to Spurs, got sacked from there. The fact that Bruno Lage has turned Wolves around, I think has been kind of good. If they bring in probably some more Portuguese players like we see every single year, I think they could. Maybe top 10, maybe you could say that to about every single team. That depends on what window they have. Aston Villa, I went with them being 11th. Everyone's tipped them to get top 10 as well. I'm not quite sure. They got Leon Bailey last season. They got Emil Buendia last season. They got Digne last season. They got Coutinho last season. Coutinho obviously lived up to the hype a little bit. Actually, yeah, he did a little bit, didn't he? He was class. I just don't feel like they're going to do that. I feel like not struggle, but I think they're just going to be very, very inconsistent like they have this season. Number 9 went with Leicester. I'm not quite sure what happened then this season, to be honest. They've got the training facilities and everything for that, like there, because since they won the league, they had RLM funds. Since they got into the Europa League, they got RLM funds. Was it Europa League? I'm pretty sure. They've got the Conference League as well. Got RLM. Yeah, so with Leicester, they've got players like Jamie Vardy, who is on the wrong side of 30 now, got 35. Schmeichel also 35. Schmeichel being one of the main reasons why they aren't going to concede as much goals. Jamie Vardy can't rely on a 35-year-old unless he's Man United with Ronaldo. Obviously, Wesley Fofana is going to be a massive part of their defence. He was before he was injured. He's been injured for the majority of the season. He's came back. Leicester look a bit better, but he's not going to be the same player as he was before he was injured. It'll take a bit longer, but I reckon he could be good next season. They've got James Anderson, obviously always a threat. They've got Tielemans, if he doesn't leave, could be, if he shows the hype that he did, I think it was a season or 2 ago, that could be a great player. Harvey Barnes, another great player. Who else is there? Can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but they've got a pretty good team, so I went North Boys finish on 9th. And the next one's a bit more controversial. Number 8, well, my team, Newcastle. Obviously, this depends on the window. I've rated all the teams before the window. For some reason, I'm rating Newcastle after the window. I don't know why. I just feel like it won't change where I think I'll put them in the next window. Depending on who I buy, could even go first. Depends. I just feel like the transfer window we're going to have is going to be great. We're getting the likes of Hugo Ekitike. Hopefully, it's not 100% confirmed. He's not kind of clickbait as the last video was saying it was. Should be done though. We get Lucas Paqueta, could be good. If we get if we get the quality of players that we are linked to, we should be finished around 8th. But if we did finish 8th to about 11th, I think that'd probably be around where we'll be finishing. So yeah, it just depends. Also, if you look at where we finished last season, we finished 11th, and Eddie Howe came in, and now we've got half through the season. We're about half the games and started. Yeah. And if I had Eddie Howe from the start of the season, God knows how far we could be right now. We finished on 49 points. If we're doing better before he came in, God knows we're going to be around 9th maybe. Because I know we're 2 points away from Brighton in the cut. That's why it cut out. I was checking on the team that are finishing. Brighton finished 9th. Only 2 points ahead of us though. Right, so West Ham. I'm not quite sure about these because if Declan Rice goes, it's a massive blow for them. I'm still quite impressed with them, definitely, because their team should not be there, I don't think. Look at like Jared Bowen, and he's a cracking player, but Mikel Antonio, very quiet this season. Obviously not as good as what he usually is, but he's getting on now. I'd say conspiracy, it's all been done true now, but Kurt Zuma kicking the cat. What I mean, it's been done true. It's literally on video. I don't think their team's good enough for anywhere other than Conference League. But that's where they're finishing there. That's where they're going to be next season. But they should easily win that, I reckon. Not easily, because there should be some decent teams in there. But yeah, I think Arsenal are. I think their best chances of getting in the top 4 was last season, where a couple of teams are having some off seasons. Them get themselves into Europe. I think the only reason why Arsenal did that good last season is because they didn't have Europe. Obviously, more rest for players. I think that's how they got the majority out of their season. Man United, obviously Eric Ten Hag coming in. I don't think they're going to get top 4. Really don't. Be an improvement of last season, I reckon. Not a massive improvement, but then again, also depends on the transfer window that they have. If Ronaldo keeps on scoring like he has this season, it could be a very good season. If they try and get Bruno Fernandes's form back, Marcus Rashford's, if Eric Ten Hag gets the most out of Donny van de Beek, could be good. Gets the most out of Harry Maguire, that could be a very difficult task. If De Gea is just as good as this season, he could do alright. If they'll bring the likes of, actually, if Ten Hag can get the most out of Paul Pogba, but I'm not quite sure that he's going to be leaving to go to Juventus or not. If Eric Ten Hag gets the most out of Paul Pogba, it could be a very good season for them. For Chelsea, obviously just had a takeover. If they didn't have that takeover, I don't think they'd even be in the Championship. I think that was something to do with, was it a time limit? I don't know if that was true or not, but if Chelsea didn't get taken over, they were going to be dropped down the leagues. Obviously that didn't happen because they've been tipped over by someone. I don't know who it is, to be honest. It's not a country, not a country. That's all I know. Tottenham, I think they could do a better season than they did last season. Could do a better season than they did last season, yeah, that one. They could have a better spell of form than they did last season. Obviously they had a couple of shaky performances from off the top of your head. But there were some performances where they look really good, some performances where they look really shit. I think with Tottenham, obviously Conte brings that winning mentality, I'd say, because everywhere he's been, he's managed to win something. It looked like the likes of Chelsea won the league, Inter Milan. Was it Inter Milan? I think he won the league there. I'm quite sure, but yeah, he's got a winning mentality. I'm quite sure he'll probably do the same with Tottenham. Second, we're at Manchester City. And the only reason why I'm at Manchester City is because of Erling Haaland. I feel like Man City's more of a team that they like to play it around people, if you know what I mean. They're more like a passing type of team more than Haaland. He's going to want the ball and he's just going to want to drive and just shoot. That's not how Man City plays. Obviously, I haven't watched that much of Haaland. I've literally only seen them shooting. But if Pep can try and get the most out of Haaland, maybe get him playing into his system instead of Man City's system trying to revolve around him, I feel like Man City were doing good with a false 9, but obviously if you're a centre forward, I think if you have a striker, it's going to be better for you, especially in this day and age. But yeah, I'm not quite sure about that one. Haaland could either go really bad or really, really good. And for Liverpool, very difficult between Man City and Liverpool because of Mane leaving. Obviously, he can be a big replacement with Luis Diaz. Salah could be leaving. Who replaces him? I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure Liverpool scouts will get the bottom of that. Obviously, it took a couple of years for Salah to show how good he actually was. Had a spell at Chelsea, wasn't that good. Then went to Roma, but I think he did pretty good there. Then Liverpool bought him, and he is the player that he is now. If Thiago can be as good as what he was this season, I love Thiago. Thiago is one of my favourite players. Absolutely love him. Him and Bernardo Silva, 2 amazing players. I think that's it. It's going to be between Man City and Liverpool again. Obviously, like I've already said a million times before transfer window, so it depends on who everyone buys. There'll be an updated video at the start of the season. But yeah, lads, that is going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. If you just want to leave your comment, leave your predictions down in the description, the comments. That'd be greatly appreciated. I want to hear your thoughts about where it's going to finish, depending on people's transfer windows and everything else. So have a good day, have a good night, have a good morning, have a good anything.